I'm really happiest where I am right now as a judge in Felony Mental Health Court, but my career started as an assistant state attorney for the state attorney's office in Broward. I served under former state attorney Mike Satz. I was there for 17 years. While I was at the state attorney's office, a seat opened in my home district, in District 96, where I had the opportunity to represent the people of Northwest Broward and Tallahassee, and I served in Tallahassee for 8 years in the Florida House of Representatives. And in 2000, that was from 2004 to 2012. And when I was term limited from the House, I ran for circuit court judge, which is the position that I'm in now. In 2012, I was elected, and I started in January of 2013. A couple things that I'm most proud of. I sponsored a bill that was the first in the nation, and some states followed suit, to divest the state's pension fund from businesses that did business in Iran and Sudan, and a bill that Senator Steve Geller, now County Commissioner Steve Geller, had sponsored and was the Senate sponsor in the year that we passed it in the House, the Window of Opportunity Act, to provide applied behavioral therapy for kids on the autism spectrum. It was a bill that insurance companies did not want to see passed because those ABA therapy for kids on the spectrum are very costly. But that year that I was the House sponsor, Senator Geller passed his bill that he had sponsored 12 years prior. And we got it passed, and a lot of kids are able to receive those therapies as a result. This is a task force that was created by now retired Circuit Court Judge Mark Spicer, and it's been ongoing for many years now, each month on the second Monday of the month by Zoom. So any of your listeners are welcome to tune in to our Zoom court channel. We get together at noon, and we hear from community providers. There's between 30 and 50 participants each month, but our numbers are growing. And we collaborate and hear about different resources in our community. We always have a couple different speakers, and we talk about how we can help the people that need the mental health services in Broward. It's a constant balancing act because a lot of the people that come into our courtroom have very serious offenses. Some are property crimes, but some are very violent crimes. And some have long histories, some don't have any histories at all. And for those that are suffering from serious mental illness with long histories, I say it's a balancing act because I constantly have to consider when I'm sentencing somebody, well, first, the prosecutor on the case will tell me about their criminal history, will let me know the victim's wishes on the case, will let me know if there is any restitution owed to the victim to make them whole, will let me know what they think is appropriate for the community's safety. I have to always consider the community's safety. And then I need to take into account how will this person be successful. If they receive the treatment, will they be successful in the community? I want them to be successful in the community if it's within the confines of the law. I have to always look at what the law allows me to do. There are certain sentencing guidelines. There are certain cases, the state of Florida has sentencing guidelines, and sometimes I'm not able to sentence somebody to a period of community supervision. Sometimes they are required to go to prison for a certain amount of time because of their prior offenses. But if I'm able to sentence somebody to community placement, I need to balance the community's safety. I need to look at the victim's wants and concerns. I need to make sure the victim is made whole because of restitution. And I need to see if the person is amenable to treatment, if they're going to take to the treatment that the clinicians think is best suited for them. There are best practices, and I listen to the experts. It's usually some forensic psychologists that have made recommendations to me. There's also a treatment team that makes recommendations to me. We work with some behavioral health agencies. They very often come up with a recommended discharge plan when somebody is currently in custody or in a forensic hospital and there is a request to release them in the community. There are discharge plans recommended to the court for me to consider. Every case I look at individually, and it really depends what the violation is. Very often, the people that we treat in our court, the clients of our court, may be on some level of supervision that includes an ankle monitor. If the violation is one where the ankle monitor has lost its charge, or they're a few minutes late getting home, or they forgot about an appointment, or they missed a medication management appointment, if it's something that can easily be resolved, I would probably treat that different than committing a new criminal act. We're very fortunate in Broward. As I've spoken to colleagues from around the state, Broward is blessed to have a number of community providers. There are residential dual diagnosis treatment providers that we have in our county where people can go for 60, 90, even longer periods to get treatment. We have a provider in Broward called Henderson that has a number of facilities that are available. We have another provider that I often use called Archways. We have a provider called Banyan, a provider called House of Hope. So there are a number of options that I look to when I'm looking for treatment. And then there are also outpatient options. If the person has a safe place to live with a friend or family member, I could consider outpatient treatment as well. Unfortunately, a lot of the folks that we see in my court need some assistance and haven't had it before. It sometimes takes committing a criminal offense to get a mental health diagnosis for the first time or to get help for the first time. Many of the folks that come into our division have never had the opportunity to be in residential treatment before or to get outpatient treatment before. They've never had it. So if there's a chance for me to get somebody help, I'd really like to, all the while keeping in mind the safety of the community and always balancing that. We have something special in our courtroom, as does my colleague in drug court, that has been a new addition over the last 4 months. We have the implementation of a peer specialist. In Florida, you can have a mental illness or substance use issue. You can have that personal experience, and you can be certified as a peer specialist, somebody that has had that lived experience with a mental health issue or a substance use issue. You can get a certification to help people, and that peer we have assigned to our courtroom. That peer, his name is Robbins, our peer in our courtroom. He goes to the people that are in custody, in their handcuffs and ankle cuffs. He walks up to them, and Robbins is able to communicate a message that I just can't communicate, because Robbins sees them where they're at, because he's been there and he's suffered as they've suffered, and he can connect with them just on a whole different level. And he can tell them, I've been where you're at, you need this treatment, and he walks them there. When they get out, he'll take them to the appointments. It's just a beautiful thing to watch. Unlike a traditional trial court, when somebody is put on probation, in felony mental health court, when somebody is put on mental health probation, we see them regularly because we want them to be successful. We want to make sure they have stable housing. We want to make sure they're taking their medication as prescribed. We want to make sure they're going to those medication management appointments, they're going to their treatment, they have the peer support that they need. So we see them regularly. If it is somebody that's unhoused, if it is somebody that needs some extra support, I want to see them in 2 weeks. I want to see them in 30 days. Or if they're doing better, every 60 or 90 days. In a traditional criminal trial court, somebody on probation is not going to go before the judge until there's a violation of probation and they're back in custody. There are two avenues. We have cases where people are competent to proceed and they resolve their case to probation, your traditional mental health probation, where it could be a number of years before their probation is terminated. After they've done all of the conditions of their probation and the time period has run, or similar to a drug court model that you may be familiar with, we have a diversion program, a felony mental health diversion program that we started about 2.5 years ago, where we have currently 120 participants. It's mostly third-degree nonviolent felonies. You are a client in that program and you're competent to proceed and you participate in 1 year of treatment and your case is dismissed. And we have about 100 people that have successfully completed that diversion model. What is unique about courtroom 7810 is when you walk in, it's different than any other courtroom that you'd see at 201 Southeast 6th Street in Fort Lauderdale, because the parties, the clerk, the bailiff, the probation officer, the state attorneys and the public defenders, all are working together in this team approach. And it's like watching magic happen, because we all are trying to come up with the best outcome for this client to make sure that if it's appropriate for their release, that they're successful.